What's up, guys? Rick here with your preview for this week's Cognizant Classic. This is the event formerly known as the Honda Classic. So if you're wondering what the heck is going on, that's what the heck is going on. So we've played a PGA National for a ton. We've got a good beat on it. There are a couple of changes for this year, which we'll cover in just a second, but we're going to go through the course. We're going to go through the field. I've got some major championship stuff ahead. There's just a lot going on right now. It's a sprint. Now that we're on to the Florida swing, I cannot wait, and we will not wait. Let's go. PGA National, the champion course. And there are a few changes. So let's back up. Historically, a very difficult golf course. It can get windy. There is water everywhere. The official number is 15 holes. I count 16 holes in which water is in play. Maybe they don't think water's in play on one of them that I do. Maybe I'm thinking about if I were playing that. But anyway, it's a lot of water on approach shots. It's a lot of water off the tee. You can get in trouble here. You can make big numbers quickly. Historically, one of the most difficult venues that we get, and definitely one of the most difficult non-major venues that we get. Over the last couple of years, it has been, I don't want to say softened, but the scoring averages have gotten better. Last year, it was the 14th most difficult golf course on the schedule. Still very, very difficult, but that was the easiest that it's played in the last half decade. Okay, it's usually the second most difficult, third, fourth, whatever, something like that. This year, I think it's probably going to play even easier than that, especially to a scoring average rate, because they've done a couple of things. One, they have changed number 10 from a 500-yard par 4 to a 520, 530-yard par 5. So it's no longer a par 70, it's a par 71. There are 3 par 5s now. So you're actually seeing what you're seeing on the Course Key Stats page, which, by the way, this is my website, rickrungood.com. Everything you see will come from my website, rickrungood.com. You should go sign up for it. So I'm showing you last year's data, which still shows this as a par 4, number 10, but it is technically a par 5. The other thing that they have done is they've added more fairway here. They've cut some of the rough to be fairway length. And the quote about that is they've added an acre of new fairway. So I think that fairways will be up. I think guys will be playing from short grass more frequently. They will get the reprieve on number 10 as a par 5 now, making it what I think is probably going to be one of the easier holes. I mean, scoring averages were 4.1, 4.2 in some situations last year or over the previous years. You add 20 or 30 yards, I don't think it's going to be that big of a difference. I think it's going to probably be one of the easier holes. So number 3, number 10 now, and number 18 are your par 5s. We obviously know there's the bear trap, the end of this golf course, 15, 16, 17, where you have to play 2 par 3s. Very, very difficult. Lots of water everywhere. So that's the scorecard and some of the changes. If you look at the metrics, I think there's a couple of things that we can glean from this. So this is there's just no opinion whatsoever in this. It takes a look at every single stat on the PGA Tour, compares it to success, correlates it to success, and finds out what that value is. Then I rank them, display them, etc. The one that stands out here to me is strokes gained putting. Of the really sticky good stat profiles, or stats, excuse me, it's the highest ranked stat. There's only 15 other courses in which strokes gained putting is more correlated to success. And I think that there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, I don't think anyone is particularly immune from a blow up, from a couple balls in the water and your week is done. So, you know, the guys that normally crush from tee to green, that stuff, like it is much more in play that you're going to make a big number from tee to green. You're not going to make a big number on the putting surfaces, right? That kind of adds up a little bit. So I think that the danger, and think about when you hit a ball in the water, I mean, that's a stroke, that's a full stroke, a full 2 strokes. If you're hitting balls into the water, it adds up and will definitely skew these stats. But when you do that over time, I think it starts to tell a really good story. And then the other thing is, you know, we've basically been on Poa annua or on Paspalum all year long. We are finally going back to Bermuda in Florida, which should be flat, which should roll pure. And the better putters kind of show up here. That I think they lean into that. I think they love it. So on and so forth. Not only out of these key stats metrics, the strokes gained putting show up as the highest ranked, but also when you look at every stat, which most of these are garbage, but if you start to look at the sense of them, what is the trend here? You do get a lot of putting stats right out of the gate. Putting from 10 to 15, putting from 4 to 8 feet, putting from 6 feet. That's a very noisy, silly stat by itself. But when you add it to putting from 4 to 8, putting from 10 to 15, you add it to scrambling, you add it to sand save percentages, which also have components of putting. You look at the big strokes gained putting number. It's like, yeah, okay, I get it. We can see guys that are going to putt well, probably, or good putters generally have success here. The other thing, if we want to go back to, those shots off the tee, and here's all those metrics using the last 36 rounds and who gets the best adjusted fit. Billy Horschel gets a great fit. Eric Cole gets a great fit. JT Poston, Ben Silverman, Christian Bezuidenhout get the top 5. Wow. Best adjusted fit numbers. And if you want to go and look at, look at the missed fairway penalties on some of these holes, right? You miss the fairway on number 8, you're losing a third of a stroke to the field. You miss a fairway on 13, you're losing nearly a half a shot to the field. So there are some spots where missing the fairway, obviously, especially if you miss it on the wrong side, is going to be troublesome. You could go to something like the Holy Grail, go to the stats page, go to off the tee, and find this stat here, which says distance from edge of fairway. There are a couple of spots. I put this in my stat article on rickrungood.com earlier. There are some narrow spots at 300 and 310 yards where if you are 21 yards off in the wrong direction, you're in the water. Most pros are looking for a 40, a 50, even a 60 yard wide landing zone. You don't always get that here. And when you miss, and if you miss on the wrong side, it's water. So distance from edge of fairway says when a golfer misses the fairway, how far are they missing by? So the best players in this field, I think Russell Henley's number 1. He is third on tour, first in this field. When he misses a fairway, the average distance he misses it by is 19 feet. So what's that? Less than 7 yards, which is a really good stat to assume, at least off the tee, Russell Henley's probably not going to find the water. Now that you have to believe that he and his caddy have picked good lines and that all that stuff, right? But he should have the ability to keep the ball dry off the tee. Second shot is obviously a different story, but Henley, Connor, Sungjae Im, Tom Hoge, Lucas Glover, all very good at this distance from edge of fairway stat. And then when you look at the approaches, you get a lot of approach shots, nearly 30% of them coming from that middle iron range, 150 to 175 yards, some more at above average from 175 to 200. So you get a lot of those types of shots. So you can take, you can go look at this. We'll put it into the model, 150 to 200. We'll model those guys out for seeing who the best players are. And then you can see who also gets the putting boost. So to be clear, and I'm sure going to talk a lot about him in just a second, Eric Cole, the Floridian, who popped at this event last year, gets the best adjusted fit number, or one of them, gets the best putting boost number. I will already tell you he is a Bermuda specialist, something we'll talk about in a little bit. He's going to be pretty popular, right? Is he going to be the most popular one and done selection? I think so. Let's go to the cheat sheet. Again, rickrungood.com. I've got Cognizant in here. It's going to be really hard for me to remember to say that. I've loaded in the Live Golf field. We don't have salaries for them yet, but the field is loaded in, and their metrics are as well. So we're seeing a trend now. I think we've entered a new era on DraftKings. We're going above $12,000 on salary, and we're going down to $5,000 on salary. So we have entered the wide range era. Rory McIlroy 12-2, Cam Young 10-7, Matt Fitzpatrick at 10-6, Russell Henley at 10-2, Tom Kim at 10-1. Let's start with Rory McIlroy. Here he is, coming off a T24 at the Genesis, T66 at Pebble Beach. 2 underwhelming starts if you're Rory McIlroy. I'm going to point out something that is pretty sick. He hasn't played, he used to play this event yearly, and he played it every year from 2009 to 2016. He took off in 2017. He played it for the last time in 2018. So he has not been back here since 2018. I understand he's a completely different golfer now than he was then. He won this event in 2012. He finished second in 2014. Even with that, this is one of the courses where he has the worst course history at. Now, it is all very relative when you are Rory McIlroy, because he's gaining something like 0.84 strokes per round at this golf course, which guys would kill for that to be their career. But when you're Rory McIlroy and you've played this many rounds somewhere and it's only 0.84 or 0.86, whatever it is, it's underwhelming. And I think there's only one other course in his career where he has 16 rounds played and a worse record. So it's certainly worth noting for a big $12,200 price tag. You know, he, when you look at his advanced metrics from both the Genesis and from Pebble Beach, the big concern here is that he lost basically 5 strokes on approach over those 2 starts, because when he was rocking and rolling, even across his win in Dubai, his runner-up in Dubai, it is just some high-end second shot play, right? Remember Rory went through that stretch where he couldn't hit his wedges, just couldn't hit them. And when you're Rory, you have wedges in like everywhere. He fixed that a while ago, and you're seeing how good he was, gaining multiple strokes on approach constantly, but he's starting to falter a little bit more as of late. So it's a very big price tag. He probably has to win or finish like second behind someone who is not popular to make that worth it. I will wait and see what the projected ownership is, but I'm not super excited about Rory right now. Pretty lukewarm. Cameron Young is here, and I think Cameron Young is probably one of the most interesting golfers on this slate. I don't know if that's good or bad. I just think it's interesting. I think he's going to be able to keep his ball out of the water, right? He has consistently been driving it well. He's back to hitting his second shots well. He was great at Riviera. He gained 4 strokes on approach there. This is just a matter of whether or not he's going to put the short game together. That is really the big question here. Let's see what he's done at this event in the past. Has he ever played it? We don't have any history. We do. 2022, he finished T16 and had a similar stat profile to what he's doing right now. Great ball striker, lost around the green, maybe a little bit of a gainer on the putting surfaces, and he finished T16 almost identical to what he did at Riviera last week. So this, while there doesn't feel like there's a lot of juice to squeeze out of this, right? When you're looking at stat profiles, I don't see a place where Cam Young's going to bounce back. I don't see a place where, he's being mispriced based on the stat profile. I think he's very fairly priced. And if you're cool spending $10,700 on a guy who is fairly priced, then I think Cam Young is your guy. I think it'll be interesting to see, there's such a big difference, no offense to Russell Henley, but such a big difference between Rory McIlroy right above you and Russell Henley only $500 below you. That's kind of a tough pill to swallow. Sorry, Russ. Which kind of puts Cam Young and Matt Fitzpatrick in this awkward spot here. Quickly on Matt Fitzpatrick, this is a very concerning stat profile. We've been tracking this for the last couple of weeks since the start of 2024. This is very unlike Matt Fitzpatrick. He's generally, when he plays well, he's a well-rounded golfer. He gains across the board. He's playing whack-a-mole right now. When I say that, I mean 1 week he's good off the tee, the next week he's not. 1 week he's good on approach, the next week he's not. The putter's not there. That's been pretty consistent. The short game's generally losing more than gaining. I mean, the fact that he has not been able to figure out the putter so far in 2024 is a little bit concerning. I'll pull up his history here, but maybe Bermuda is what he needs. Maybe he needs a change to Bermuda. He's always putted well here. He just hasn't done anything else well here. He's lost 14 strokes ball striking. He's gained nearly 6 on the putting surfaces. This is probably just a wait and see. If I get burned by Matt Fitzpatrick at PGA National putting up this stat profile, I'm not going to be too worried about it. Russell Henley, consistently good. This is definitely a Henley spot, right? When you think about how well he keeps it in play off the tee. Then he turns into one of the best second shot players. Are we going to get enough of the flat stick? Is that going to cooperate? If we look at what he's done here, it's splendid. So he hasn't played since 2021. He finished third, 8th in 2020, 20th in 2019, 24th in 2018. That's 4 consecutive top 25s. Does not even include him winning this event in 2014, long time ago. Gained 8 strokes putting here in 2021. It was a long time ago, but that is a pretty darn good record. I'd almost be more excited about trying to grab Henley than Matt Fitzpatrick. And I don't know if that's a hot take or not. Obviously, salaries just came out a couple of minutes ago. I don't know what people are thinking at this point, but that is a little more exciting than this just kind of all-around struggle from Matt Fitzpatrick. We've got some good and bad for Tom Kim. Everything kind of almost offsets one another. Accurate driver, gain strokes in ball striking, doesn't putt well. You look at his distance from edge of fairway, that's good. You look at his mid to long iron play, that's not very good. 106th from 125 to 150. That's not as important this week as 150, 175, where he's 135th. 175 to 200, he's 56. Let's go back to last year. We can get a little bit of a better sample size. He admittedly, so much better from all of those ranges last year. And that is a larger sample size. 2024 has not been that good of a start for him. You can see losing strokes on approach at both the American Express and at Pebble. This could be an interesting buy spot. Pebble's a weird event, or at least it was this year. Course rotation, weather, don't care. American Express, always a weird event. If those are the two that he's losing on, I think I'm okay with that. Gains 5.5 strokes on approach in Phoenix, 1.2 at Riv. We've got to get the putter fixed. We've absolutely got to get the putter fixed if he wants to have a chance here, but keeps it in play. This should be a decent spot for him. I think turning into a 71 probably helps him. I wouldn't mind that. So, I think it's, for me, I think it's probably wait and see on Rory, not very excited. Cam Young is fair. And then Tom Kim at 10-1 could be the most interesting, and Henley over Fitzpatrick is probably the way I see it right now. Let's see what happens to Rory McIlroy as the week goes on. If there's an opportunity to get to Rory, I'll have no problem, but it would take a pretty low ownership. Okay, the 9K range. So Eric Cole, I remember this event vividly, right? Finishes runner-up last year, went to a playoff, right, with Chris Kirk, and it seemed like it was going to be, okay, well, here he is. He finishes second, and misses the cut at Bay Hill. T27 at the Players, missed cut. T39, missed cut. It's like, all right, it was fun, Eric Cole. You had your moment. We're probably not going to hear a lot from you. Wrong. Very, very wrong. Because then he goes on this run, wins Rookie of the Year, piles up a bunch of top 5s, a bunch of top 10 finishes, continues it into 2024, finished T10 at Riviera. I already mentioned he gets a great adjusted fit boost. I already mentioned he gets a great putting boost. You look at his ability to keep it in play, 56th in distance from edge of fairway. You look at the long irons, 57th on tour, much better in this field from 150 to 175. 14th on tour from 175 to 200. 33rd from 200 to 225. Very, very good from those longer ranges. Actually not as good with his wedges, which is good for this week. Floridian, we already talked about that. Him and Taylor Montgomery are number 1 and number 2 in Bermuda putting specialists for this week. They are both guys who gain strokes putting in general, right? Sometimes you get guys who are like really bad and then they're good on Bermuda. Eric Cole and Taylor Montgomery are both positive putters overall and get a significant boost on Bermuda. I believe Eric Cole is going to be the most popular one in Done Selection. I think when we get to the Wednesday live chat and we see that information and we start digesting who should be playing Eric Cole and all that fun stuff, I think he's going to be a big part of this conversation. You're going to have to deploy him in a responsible way. Whether that means, putting him in every single one of your lineups and going overweight on a very popular player, fading him, a little bit concerning, but I would get it if he starts getting up to that 30% like we saw Tony Finau do last week. We are going to have to learn the sentiment around Eric Cole this week. Speaking of one and done, I have partnered with Splash to release a 3 and done. We've never done this before, or I've never done this before, and I'm very interested to see how it goes. So, with major championship season coming up, with the players coming up, this is going to be 5 events long. Players, Masters, PGA, US Open, Open Championship. 5 events. You have to pick 3 golfers in each of those, and you cannot pick them again. I love that. That's sick, right? So a true 3 and done. You're going to pick 15 golfers over the course of this. So it starts the Players Championship, which is March 14th. This is a $500 buy-in. That's what we settled on here. If we fill it, it'll be 464 people. First place will be $25K. Second will be $20K. We're going to pay out 50 spots, which means that's more than 10%. And also there are payouts for each tournament. So there are 5 essentially segments with one segment each, or one tournament in each segment. So if you have the best Masters, you win $5,800 or whatever that final number is going to be, depending on how many people get in. And if you don't make a cut the rest of the way, that money's yours and you're good to go. This is legal, fully legal and regulated in like 41 states, 40 states, something like that. I think it's 40 NDC. I suggest getting in now because I think as I start promoting this, and from what I understand, majors pools, Masters, like that stuff is crazy popular. And I think this is going to be pretty popular too. So go check it out. I'll have my entry in there, or entries. You can have up to 3. I'll probably only play 1. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. That we rocked that. All right, the rest of the 9K range here. What I'm hoping is that we can get a vacuum on Eric Cole, right? If everybody wants to play Eric Cole, JT Poston is basically Eric Cole, right? Both of these guys for the last year have done nothing but finish inside the top 15 and have 0 wins for it, right? Both of them finished T10 at Riviera. Both of them generally are not good statistical drivers, but they hit a lot of fairways, which is important here. Both of them then turn into pretty good iron players and pretty darn good putters. So they are very, very similar from that perspective. We're going to look up JT Poston's history around this event. It's not good. It's not bad. He's made the cut in 5 out of 6, but he doesn't have a finish better than T27, and that was 7 years ago. The metrics aren't horrible. He just hasn't really ever put it all together. I think there's a chance that many just simply opt for Eric Cole or for Sungjae Im, who has won this event and then finished 8th, and struggled recently, and leave JT Poston untouched. That's what I'm hoping for. That would be great. That's what I would go for. Quickly on Sungjae Im, because I do find him to, when you have a win and an 8th place finish, you're going to be one of the more interesting golfers. I do not like this stat profile one single bit. I'm a huge Sungjae guy. I wish he was playing better. Ever since the American Express, it has been very bad. Very, very bad. He lost strokes on approach at the American Express. He lost strokes on approach at Farmers. Did it again at Pebble Beach. Did it again in Phoenix. Did it again at Riviera. 5 in a row. I don't think there is another time in his career where he has lost strokes on approach in even 3 in a row. And we are at 5. He did 4 here, but some of these losses are microscopic. 0.1, 0.2 over 4 rounds. And this is a match play loss, which is a very wonky stat. So, I mean, we are definitely, here's 3 in a row. He actually lost 6 out of 7 from Phoenix in 2021 to the Masters in 2021. So again, we're pretty much in uncharted territory. It's been a couple of years, and that is quite concerning to me. So probably not for me this week. There will be a lot of love for Benny On here. He's played great. Recently, he's played great here. There will be a lot of love for Chris Kirk. Hasn't played as well recently, but remember, he won the Century. He's won this event last year. Give me, there will be love for Keith Mitchell at $9,000. There might even be love for Daniel Berger. Who knows? I don't know what Daniel Berger is. He's played 3 times this year. He's been all right, and he's got a great record here, and he loves Florida. Give me all the Shane Lowry. Right? Give me all the 7% Shane Lowry, who is playing fine, gained tee to green in Phoenix, lost 3 strokes putting, finished T25 at Farmers, much more difficult golf course. Well, differently difficult and way deeper field. Missed the cut at the American Express, lost 2 strokes putting. When Shane Lowry's struggling, he loses strokes putting. He's quick to bounce back, and the tee to green play's been great. You go back even any further than that, the European Tour stuff, awesome. T18 at the DP World Tour Championship. He played well at the Ryder Cup. Had 2 good starts before that at Wentworth and the K Club, and then when you start comparing his history at this event, there's a lot of good course history in the 9K range, right? A lot of wins, a lot of runner-up finishes, a lot of top 5s. Lowry's is just as good. T5 last year, runner-up the year before, hasn't missed a cut here. Putts well more often. I mean, he finished 5th last year, losing a stroke putting. I think that there is going to be some really popular guys in this 9K range, and I'm hoping it leaves kind of Lowry and JT Poston untouched. If I could get, maybe I'd even start there. Who knows? If I could go there, I'd be pretty happy. Also for this week, I have not really, if you are watching this video as it's coming out or like close to when it came out on Monday, you have not seen my major championship rankings and best ball video yet. So this is the rankings, and these are 100% free. rickrungood.com/bestball. I have learned how popular major championship pools are. Masters, the Big 4, 5, right, with the Players Championship. It's stunning. One and done is growing like a weed. These are growing like a weed. So what I've done for the first time ever is I put together major championship rankings, and this is actually a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be, because one, not everybody's in every major, obviously, but the problem is the qualification processes are not done, and they're not going to be done until like these events start. So what I actually ended up going through and doing is marking everybody who's already qualified, right? That's your end of year stuff. That's your past champions, guys that are already in no matter what. They're green check marks. Then I did these yellow circles, which is basically saying they're currently qualified. If qualification ended right now, they'd be in. Then there are red X's, which means they are not qualified and they are not currently qualified. Then I use that information along with strokes gained numbers from each of the majors, recent form, generated a score, and then ranked them. And my rank supersedes the score, but that's just for me. You can do whatever you want here. And my hope for these is that you'll use these rankings for the splash pool. You'll use these to draft on Underdog. So Underdog is running, I'll pull it up. Underdog is running majors only best balls. So you'll draft a team of 10 and it's only for the majors, which is so much better because the live guys are available. Like I have Jon Rahm second. And in season-long best ball, I don't think I drafted any of Jon Rahm. It just didn't make any sense. But now I can draft a lot of Jon Rahm. That's fun. So they've got, I mean, the $10 entry has a $50,000 first prize. And I think there should be a pretty big emphasis on the Masters for a couple of reasons. We'll definitely know the qualifications of that before this starts. And who's playing it. The course history is pretty sticky, so it should be the easiest one to predict. And then also, that's how you advance. You have to advance through the Masters to get to the PGA. And then if you advance again, you go to the US Open, right? And then the championship round is the Open Championship. So hopefully these rankings are helpful for you. I'll continue to update them. You know, I have to add Jake Knapp is now in some of these, right? So I'll continue to update these qualifications and my ranks, but you can download these. You can mess around. All I ask is if you're going to use them, you know, use them on Splash, click the link in the description, use them on Underdog, click the link in the description, or use the promo code Rick. That helps me. It helps you. It helps all of us. I want to support all these things. So if you use them in good health. rickrungood.com/bestball. The 8K range. So I have not heard anything about Jake Knapp yet. I would not be surprised if he withdrew from this event, but as of this moment, as of recording, he is still in it. Sometimes we see guys first win, very emotional, take some time off. I do not know what he's going to do, but he's currently in the field at $8,400. If you cannot keep it in play off the tee, or you get a little loose when you get nervous, there are big numbers lurking. So I'm glad Jake Knapp got the win out of the way last week. There's going to be a lot of good golf courses for him moving forward. I am not sure this is one of them. Nicolai Højgaard has gotten a lot of run as of late. Do not forget about his brother, Rasmus, who is in this field. Twin bro Rasmus is $8,500. Let us look up this stat profile. And I'll give you the quick plug. rickrungood.com tracks 6 tours, including the DP World Tour, the European Tour, with strokes gained when they track those, when they have the lasers set up. So we have a complete picture of Rasmus. If that is not the selling point right there, I don't know what is. Look at what he has done. He has gained at least 5 strokes to the field in every event for his last 10 events. In those 40 rounds, he's gained strokes in 32 of them. He has 3 straight top 8 finishes, including a runner-up. He has 7 straight top 11 finishes. You can say it's DP World Tour and it doesn't matter. I will tell you, one of them was the DP World Tour Championship where everybody was there. That's their, Rory played in that. Dubai, the Invitational and the Desert Classic, Fleetwood and Rory won those, right? I mean, these are not, sure. You want to knock him for a T8 in Bahrain? Have at it. But you got to give him credit for the 2 T11s in Dubai. Okay? So I really like the way he plays. The ball striking metrics have gotten much better. He's actually just gotten much more well-rounded as of late. And, don't forget that Rasmus is here. He's hanging out at 8,500. Good, bad, or indifferent that Matthew Pavone took time off, right? He was eligible for a signature event that he didn't play, right? Could have played at Genesis, didn't play it. The win at Farmers, the 3rd place finish at Pebble Beach, the 7th in Sony. I mean, this is just a dream start to the year for him. I thought he did a good job, at least at Torrey, of managing that golf course and playing to his strengths. I worry he's a little inaccurate, although if you kind of look deeper into the metrics, he does miss a lot of fairways, but he doesn't miss them by much. He's 109th in accuracy, but 45th in distance from edge of fairway. Average is only 22 feet. That's 7 yards. So it's a very strange combination to do that. And then he's okay. It's a very small bucket, but he's okay from some of those farther ranges. So I think he's kind of interesting. I don't know what's going to happen with him taking the time off. The sneaky one I think here might be Alex Noren. Noren had me pretty excited at the end of last year, entering this year, because he was starting to put together a bunch of really good results. He had the runner-up finish in Bermuda, the T3 at the Shriners, and it's not like he's been bad. It's been okay, right? He's got 4 straight made cuts, in 2024. Best finish, T25. He has a T25 and a T26. Worst finish, T53. So he's just kind of living in that little area there. He hasn't played this event since 2 years ago. He didn't play it last year, but he finished, I think, 5th the last time he played it. Yeah. So 5th in 2022. He had a 3rd place finish in 2018. It's definitely a course he's familiar with. It's definitely a course that I think sets up well for him. I wish he was playing a little bit better, but honestly, if he was playing a little bit better, I don't think that he'd be 8,200. I think he'd be more expensive than that. So I'm looking at Rasmus. I'm looking at Pavone. I'm looking at Noren, and I'm sprinkling in a little Jaeger. Right? Jaeger, who's showing us what his ceiling is repeatedly, but he might be popular this week. Sprinkling in a little Jaeger along the way. I don't love firing the hot takes into the atmosphere, but I was gobsmacked when I saw that Thorbjorn Olesen was $7,700. To be clear, this guy was $10K last week, and one of the betting favorites. I realized that that was a weaker field. I'm not sure it was substantially weaker. There's like 40 guys ahead of him now. Did he play well? No. 46th. It wasn't Thomas Dietrich. He didn't do what Thomas Dietrich did. Yes, I worry about his ability to drive it. That has not always been an issue for him. I mean, he lost a stroke off the tee in a win on the DP World Tour. Last week, lost strokes off the tee in rounds 2, 3, and 4 for a pretty substantial amount. Much better iron player, very stout around the greens, and he can putt it well enough. I am not sprinting to get as much Thorbjorn Olesen as I can, but this quick change in perception, quick change in pricing feels a little off to me. Still a guy who in his last 10 starts has like a win and 4 more top 10 finishes. Oh, I'm sorry. I won't waste your time with any more like Matt McNeely stuff because I spend a lot of time on McNeely. This is also very wrong. $7,100. He finished T13 last week. Where did Tony Finau finish last week? T13. I don't know why I picked him. Matt McNeely's healthy. Matt McNeely is healthy, and Matt McNeely is back. Matt McNeely is probably the best putter on the PGA Tour, and if he's not number 1, he's top 5. And oh, by the way, all of a sudden he's driving it well. I don't know if he got healthy and figured out the driver, took that time off to figure it out, but he was hemorrhaging strokes last year off the tee. He's a gainer. 3.6 in Mexico, 1.7 in Phoenix, 1.8 at Torrey. That's only 3 measured rounds. The approach play still leaves a little bit to be desired, but when you can make up for it with one of the best putters on a golf course that kind of asks you to do that, Matt McNeely is $7,100. Come on. Kind of a joke, right? Quite honestly, I would like stack this Vegas crew, right? Give me McNeely 7,100, Doug Ghim at 7,000. Doug Ghim has 3 straight top 13 finishes. He has turned into a different golfer. The problem with Ghim is he's like, I'm not sure he's ever made a cut here. He's definitely missed his last 3, which might mean that this is a very bad golf course for him. But look at this. T13, T12, T8, in which he is gaining across the board in basically all of them. Really impressive stuff. Let's look at I'll show you something much less impressive. It's going to be his results around here. It's definitely at least 3 missed cuts. Yeah. Okay. 3 missed cuts with just enormous losses with the putter. Enormous. It's been much better lately. Much, much better lately. That was team no putt Doug Ghim. This is team kind of putt Doug Ghim. Okay. The $6,000 range. We still have another range to go here. I don't think I'll be chasing Sammy Valimaki off the runner-up finish in Mexico. I think that going back to Alexander Bjork, who finished 11th at the Amex last time we saw him. Actually, that might not be the last time we saw him. That was the last time we saw him definitely on the PGA Tour. Let's pull him up here. Missed the cut in Phoenix and T70 at the Farmers. Gain strokes on approach in both of those, is not driving it well. He is accurate though. He is losing all of his strokes off the tee in distance. He's very short, 271 yards off the tee, but one of the most accurate drivers that we have. Very good from some of those buckets. Pretty darn good putter. Yeah. So Bjork, I shouldn't say enamored, because that makes it sound like I'm already there. Like Gary Woodland is flirting with me. I'm not sure if I'm going to take him up on it, right? I'm not sure if I'm going to spurn his advances or not, but he's flirting with me. Obviously, he's still dealing with some of the side effects of the brain surgery and having the lesion removed, but seems to be, healthy. He's getting back into the routine of things. He's playing more events. I'm seeing snippets of that really good Gary Woodland ball striker, right? We're seeing it maybe a round at a time, 2 rounds at a time. Like, what are we getting? What he did in round 1 at Farmers on the South Course, gaining 2.6 strokes, ball striking. Like that's the stuff that I see, and I say he's flirting with me. And then, the back-to-back top 10s here, 2022, 2020, I think it's a really good spot for him. $6,500. He's also a very good, I think he's a pretty good buy. I don't know where I have him ranked in. I have him 65th in major championship rankings. He should probably be higher than that. He's in everything. He's in everything. And because his US Open win was within the last 5 years, right? So he's in everything. And I think just like we were buying Matt McNeely, we were buying Will Zalatoris trying to be early, like I'd be buying Gary Woodland stock right now. I don't know if it's this week, but I think it's coming. This is a pretty good Chan Kim spot, right? T8 in Mexico, T14 at the American Express. Good enough from tee to green. He had those back-to-back wins on the Korn Ferry Tour at the end of last year. A very, very high upside golfer. Accurate as all get off the tee. 27th in accuracy on tour. Decent with those middle irons. Obviously, he's got to be a good putter. The thing with his putter is it can be all over the place. Gains 4 strokes putting at the American Express, loses 4 on the South Course at Torrey Pines. Don't blame him for that. Then he picked up 5 last week on Paz Palam. So maybe, I don't know. We'll see what he does on Bermuda here. But that's a pretty darn good price. He's got no history, which is probably going to keep people away. The $5,000 range, still very, very weird to say that. So we can pick out our favorite dart throws here. We'll get to know Chandler Phillips, I think, more over the course of the next couple weeks. He has 2 top 25s in his last 3 starts. He has not missed a cut in 2024. He graduates from the Korn Ferry, gets his card. He had a kind of a volatile Korn Ferry career or season last year. He won the first event that he played, and then had a bunch of missed cuts, but a bunch of top 10s as well. Hasn't missed a cut on the PGA Tour yet. Second shot numbers are good. Around the green play is good. Putter, doesn't drive it well. So he's got to keep it in play. The others, Jorge Campillo, played well last week. Finished 19th last week, right? We kind of highlighted him last week as somebody who, was coming from a DP World Tour background. And this is what you get. Like, you get these guys that now come over for the Florida swing. Jorge got here a week early and played the Mexico Open and finished T19. It's great. Now he's in the swing of PGA Tour life, right? It's much easier in the second start to know where dining is and know like all that stuff. It's a real thing. I think the obvious play in the 5K range is Parker Coody at 5,100. It's really dirty that DraftKings took both Coodys and priced them at 5,100. So be careful. Pearson, not the guy I'm talking about. Parker is the guy that I'm talking about. Parker's got back-to-back top 25s. Finished 25th at the Farmers. Good little stat profile. Finished 24th last week in Mexico. Decent little stat profile. $5,100. If you're trying to get Rory, maybe it's a Rory Coody combo that gets you there. But don't accidentally click Pearson's name. He'll probably win now that I said that, but don't accidentally do that. Custom model, rickrungood.com. Let me zoom in a little bit and see what's going on. All right. So let us do a couple of things before I forget. We need strokes gained putting on Bermuda for, we'll do 15, but then I'll do another strokes gain. I don't want to just, if strokes gained putting is important, like the model seems to think it is, I'll do strokes gained putting last 50 as well. The other thing that I'll do is, because we're still dealing with this, some guys are from the Korn Ferry, some guys are from whatever. I'll hit you with a baseline of 20 on weighted strokes gained total, right? Everybody has that. It's going to allow us to kind of give everybody a nice little baseline. Okay. What we'll also do is we'll do a little bit on driving accuracy. We'll call it 10 there. We're going to hit the approach numbers in those longer ranges. 8 on 150 to 175, 8 on 175 to 200, 8 on 200 to 225. So we've got putting, we've got driving, we've got approach play. We haven't really done around the green, but that's also encompassed into the strokes gained total. I would like to call this a hard golf course. But I don't know if that's going to be the case this year. 14th last year, that's just kind of upper third. And then the changes, really, really tough. So maybe I'll stay away from calling it strokes gained easy, medium, or hard. Oh, we could do course history. Sure. PGA National, put 10 there. And then we have 11 left. Let's just do 11 on fantasy points gained. Okay. My number one golfer, oh man, Eric Cole. It's either going to be a community win or a 40% owned miscut. Yeah, I mean, makes sense. Eric Cole, number one. Christian Bezuidenhout, number two. Russell Henley is 3 for me. Poston, 4. See, that's what's interesting. Both Eric Cole and JT Poston are in my top 4, and I imagine they're going to be wildly different ownerships. Matthew Pavone is 5. Hubbard is 6. Ben Griffin, Eric Van Rooyen, Billy Horschel, Matt Fitzpatrick. Rory McIlroy is number 23. Cam Young is number 20. Tom Kim is number 14. Those are the rest of the 10K guys. So you are really seeing kind of a shift. I mean, what was the optimal again last week? Was 47,400 or something like that. Wow. Really interesting. Okay. Lowry's 11. Love that. Okay. Well, I'm going to save this. I always forget. Save my model and call it Monday Honda model 2024. We can revisit this on Wednesday. So Wednesday live chat. Same time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. I will be on the road, but we will still, let me make sure we're actually going to do it at 3 o'clock. No, it's probably going to be later. It is probably going to be maybe 4 o'clock. Well, it'll be like 4 o'clock or something like that, but we will still do it on Wednesday. I'll be on the road. I have a new side monitor to hopefully make it a little bit easier, which will be nice. Go sign up for the Splash Majors and Players 3 and done. See if we can get that thing filled up. Go sign up. Go draft your teams for Underdog for the best ball. Majors best ball. Use the ranks, rickrungood.com/best ball. All the links you need are in the description. Looking forward to it. Best of luck, and I'll talk to you guys soon.